Ladies and gentlemen, we are back here on the airways, and something very special has transpired. And so we have here one of our newest partners, Brother James Bryant. This is his first one, ladies and gentlemen, his first podcast in such a long time. And guess what? Yours truly getting an opportunity to be interviewed by such greatness. And it's going to be fun. I want to say here for all those, welcome here to an exciting episode and exclusive, of course, from Transformation Greatness along with SBN, the Small Business Network podcast. Not sure on what the podcast number is, but again, this is one of our newest partners to SBN, the Small Business Network. This is Brother James Bryant. He's actually going to be interviewing yours truly. So this is going to be fun. It's definitely going to be fun. For all those that's in attendance, if you're just tuning in live, put in hashtag live, guys. Let us all know where you're tuning in from. And of course, and if you should happen to catch this on a replay, because we get it, put in hashtag replay. Let us know where you're tuning in from. But most importantly, do me a favor. Let us know as far as if you have gotten any kind of value or any insights from this podcast. Before we go ahead and move forward, and I'll pass it over to you, James, I definitely want to give, as far as to a shout out or mention to someone in which was very near and dear to my heart, Brother Mark Rodriguez. Just found out the news, unfortunately, that over the weekend he done passed away. He was definitely, as far as like one of my speaking soul brothers in the speaking world. He was someone that was so inspirational, like encouraging, empowering. And brother, I'm definitely going to miss you. So condolences as far as to the Rodriguez family. So if you're out there listening, perhaps catching this on a replay, just want to let you know my heart and condolences goes out to you. And again, this is for Brother Mark Rodriguez. So with no further ado, boys and girls, we have here our host, Mr. James Bryant. So James, I'll let you take it away.
Yes, sir. Well, good evening to the SBN community and all surrounding platforms. My name is Bryant, and this is my first podcast here on SBN. I'm just grateful for the opportunity. I have to shout out Commissioner James out in Texas, and for all of those that are part of this SBN network, I want to give you all a lovely shout out. And to my friend tonight, who I'm about to interview, Mr. Shawn White, sir, I got to tell you, thank you so much for believing in me, for your kindness, for your perseverance. And most of all, Mr. White, I just thank you for surviving. And I'd like to start out a quote on tonight, and that is, the world is full of nice people. And if you can't find one, be one. So with that being said, let us get started, Mr. White. God bless you, sir, as always. God bless you. So, Mr. White, can you state to the listening audience of who you are and what you do?
Yes, sir. So ultimately, I'm a connector, ladies and gentlemen. I am someone that has been in the entrepreneur space for about 14 years. During that time frame as being an entrepreneur, I was given a brand which is called Transformation Greatness, which is all about motivating, encouraging, and inspiring the masses. And with that, it has given me the ability, as far as with the gift of speaking, being a coach, a hypnotherapist practitioner, but also as well, I'm a partner and CEO of SBN, the Small Business Network, in which we provide as far as solutions for small business entrepreneurs and visionaries. Also, I'm a part of Excellence Incorporated, spearheaded by Apostle Dr. Angela Palmer Banks. I'm a mentor, I'm an author, I'm a part of many different organizations, but ultimately, like I mentioned in the beginning, I am a connector of people, and I just love to see people win. So that's just a little bit about me.
Well, listen, Mr. White, I think that is absolutely fabulous. That's a brilliant way to describe yourself. A man of many talents. So I just want to say, God bless you, sir. And I'm going to move right along as we go through this podcast. I will inject some, questions of my own and perhaps some things that I'm passionate about along the way, and so that we can have a wonderful podcast. So far, sir, I'm just honored to be here. So, Mr. White, if I had to ask you another question, how did you get started in the industry?
You know, that's very interesting because prior to this, I was actually in the marketing industry. And I was with a marketing firm, and with the campaign in which that I was under is that we used to provide like government issue phones and also doing fundraisers. And so I remember one day when I was out in a business trip, actually in Jacksonville, Florida, I remember somebody was saying like, "Hey, man, you know, like you have the leadership skills, you have the communication skills, you love people, you're certainly a people person. Have you ever considered perhaps like being an entrepreneur, like on social media, like in the digital world?" And I was like, no, not really. I mean, I was comfortable as far as on where I was at. I was making decent money, right? Had a nice team and everything. But he was just encouraging me. He was like, yeah, man, I think that you should, man, because I believe that you have as far as on what it takes. Now, he did tell me that it is a different challenge and that it's totally different from what you're doing because the campaign I was a part of was more so face to face, right? And this was like totally digital. But he did tell me that, you know, with the right training and toolage, I believe that you can really make this into a career. So I said, you know what? Sure, why not? Right? Why not? When I came in and when I first started, it's very interesting because I thought that like I was gonna come in, basically just talk to a bunch of people, make a whole bunch of money, and ride out to the sunset, right? How many of you actually had that thought and realization? Come on, y'all. Let's be honest here. I know I was
Yes, sir.
one of them. But this is what I discovered, ladies and gentlemen. It's not so simple as that, is it? Absolutely not. I done made so many mistakes. I done lost so much money in the beginning. I did literally everything in which that you're not supposed to do, I did. Right. So I learned very hard lessons the hard way. And so the thing was, even though I went those experiences and I've been burned a few times, I said, you know what? I understand that being an entrepreneur is not easy, and there are steps and levels to this, right? And so, since I had like a sports mentality at that time, and based upon the background that I came from, I said, you know what? I like this. I like the principles, right? And I said, I'm just going to stick and stay. So I've been a part of some network marketing companies, had the chance to learn some principles, and just kept building and building and building and building and building, and to where I'm at today.
Listen, I think, first of all, Mr. White, I think you an awesome person. I think you have paid your dues, as you just stated, so many mistakes, so many downsets, but your perseverance is really what's impressive. You are here today. We are here together. I've had my challenges myself. Just a little slight brief. I'm a peer recovery counselor, CPRS, state certified, and I deal with clients that are, dealing with substance abuse. They're dealing with childhood traumas, which is called the ACEs in the clinical world. And Mr. White, I've found out through only life experiences, but me overcoming my challenges myself, and that'll come later in another podcast or whatever. Tonight, I'm gonna keep the focus on you, but just to let you know that perseverance, knowing that your beginning doesn't define your ending,
Correct.
understanding that everyone has their challenges. The question is, what are you gonna do with it? Bad things do happen to good people. You need to understand that, Mr. White. That is something that happens. Life presents what it presents. You get the cards, and you deal with it the best way you can. You understand what I'm saying? It's two things, Mr. White. I've found out that we as humans don't have control over. That is who your parents are, and what race you'll be in.
Correct.
That's out of our hands. Once we're here, then we discover these things. And a lot of times, we have to deal with what we have. Is it fair? Absolutely. It keeps it fair on their perspective of spirituality. You know, Everyone is given talents. Everyone is given certain things they're good at, and it's up to us to search ourselves and find out what we're good at. And a lot of times, Mr. White, I've found out that it is only after you've been through the fires of life that you come to understand what you're good at. The old cliche, I don't look like what I've been through. Well, that's a true
Mhm.
statement tonight, Mr. White.
Mhm.
So I just want to say that to you, sir. God bless you that you don't look like what you've been through.
You know
So,
what?
with that being said, yes, sir.
You know what? And may I interject here? I'm
Yes,
glad
sir.
I'm glad you framed it like that the way you did, because what I had to learn through my journey, and which that I mentioned to so many individuals, is that just like you said, it's not about as far as on where you started from, right? Because everybody that you will ever speak to in life has a story.
Yes, sir.
Everybody has a background. Everybody came from somewhere. Some people came from wealth. Some people came from, good homes. Some unfortunately didn't, right? But it doesn't matter on how it looked like in the beginning. It didn't matter as far as on how it started. It's all about as far as on where you're at and what you're wanting to do about it. It was a quote that I heard from Will Smith that really stuck out, and he stated that it may not be your fault that certain things happen to you, right? It may not be your fault that you may have grew up as far as like in the ghetto, or as far as like in poverty. It may not have been your fault that you weren't given certain opportunities that others may have had, right? It may not have been your fault, such as fill in the blank, when you were younger, but it is your responsibility once you reach a certain level of age, of maturity. It is your responsibility now to go ahead and fix it.
Yes, sir.
That in itself is powerful, because what it does, it puts the awareness back on yourself. And so for me, when I was in the process, through God's grace and mercy, of course, when he was
Absolutely.
giving me those challenges, and when he was giving me those adversities and giving me those hardships disguised as blessings, right? When he was
Yes, sir.
giving me those things, I had to compartmentalize. I had to really take a step back and ask myself, okay, is this happening to me, or is this happening for me? Now, for most people, when you're going through adversity, when you're going through the fire, when you're going through things, the last thing on your mind is like, okay, should I have gratitude in this? Human nature says absolutely not, because it's painful, right? You feel that emotion. It's like, man, like, oh man, like, why does this keep on happening to me? But in my experience, just like you mentioned, that the perseverance, right, the comeback champion that is created in a man or a woman, is your ability to be able to bounce back from that, from the ability to be able to withstand, from the ability to have your faith being strengthened, and that even though you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, you just know that it is. And so that gives
Yes,
you
sir.
the encouragement and the perseverance to say, you know what, I'm just going to keep on going like the little engine that could, one step at a time. Hey, guess what? I may even have to even crawl
Yes,
at
sir.
certain
Yes, sir.
times. You understand? But however,
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to stop. And so for
That's right.
me, that's the reason why God has given me such an ability to have a strong will, right? And not give up, because I've been through so much in my life, been through so much.
Yes, sir.
And yet I know by his grace and mercy that no matter what it looks like or what it feels like, he has given me enough evidence to support for the fact that as long as I keep my trust and faith in him, it all works out. It
Yes, sir.
works out. It's universal law, universal principles. Doesn't matter as far as what you believe in, what modalities. But the reality is this: as long as you're willing to stay in the game long enough,
Yes, sir.
stay in the race long enough,
Yes, sir.
believe in your ability and your purpose long enough, which that'll probably be another topic for another time. What is my purpose? But when you understand that, you stay in the game, man. And that's my message to you all and the listening audience, and even those that's watching this on a replay. Stay in the game and just believe in yourself enough to know that what your higher power has given you is enough, and he wants you to stay in the game, not for your benefit, right? Not for you to say, oh, it was all about me and about my gifts and talents and intellect and smarts. No, it's for you to finally figure it out and say, you know what? By the grace of God, there goes I.
You better believe it, Mr. White. And with that being said, to the creator tonight who has orchestrated this, set this up a long time ago, long before you and I met. This thing was already orchestrated in the heavens. See, I understand that God don't do coincidences. You know, he's a strategic God. He sets up everything. Our steps are ordered, whether we believe it or not, whether we understand it or not. Yeah, we make plans, but God does the networking. You understand what I'm saying? At the end of the day, he'll push our stuff aside to have his purpose done. And that's the goal, Mr. White, is to live a life that will be purposeful. And long before I understood what my purpose was, I didn't think I had a purpose, Mr. White, because I was dealing with
Mm,
so many of life's challenges, which started early childhood, single digits. But what I understood as the older I got, that for me to become purposeful, I started being of service to others.
mm,
Long before I knew what my purpose was, I just became a servant to others. And that gave me purpose. Along the way, it started to develop my purpose.
mhm.
But I tell people all the time, listen, if you don't know what your purpose is, that's okay. Just start being a service or a servant to someone else. That in itself will bring you purpose. And then along the way, you will find what it is that your purpose is. You understand what I'm saying, sir? And for another thing that I think is very important, Mr. White, we as humans need to understand that it's okay not to be okay. Here's the key: don't stay in it. Have your moments, have your time, and put back on your knapsack. Lace up your boots, and let's go to work. If faith is the substance of things hoped for, it is the evidence of things not seen. But it is also declared that faith without works is dead. Ah, let's move right along, Mr. White. I love you tonight, sir. And you still don't look like what you've been through. Question number 3. Who or what inspired your brand transformation to greatness?
You know what? I'm glad you asked me that question.
Yes, sir.
And to answer that question, I have to take you all back to the time when I was at one of my lowest points in my life. And this is when I was in a homeless shelter. I'm gonna spare you guys of all the of all the details, because it's not all doom and gloom. But to set the stage, I remember when I was coming out of church. I'll never forget this day. And I was sitting because because where the church was at, there was also a park, and it was right next to the prison. Right, this was in downtown Atlanta, and I remember I was listening to the word, and I'm sorry, I was listening to music and I was reading the word, and distinctly remember hearing a voice, but it wasn't clear. To set the stage, and this is to answer your question, if you ever seen the movie The Matrix with Keanu Reeves, it's the best way I can describe it. And the scene when he was in the city, Manhattan, and he was trying to figure out on what he was going to do with his life because he was in a dead end job, but he always knew it was something bigger, something greater. And when Morpheus spoke to him and said, Neo, I am here. Uh-oh, I think we lost Mr. Bryant, but hopefully that he comes back in. But as he's coming back in, to answer this question, if you ever seen the movie The Matrix where Neo, he was walking through the city, and then that's when everything just stood still. Everybody stood still, the cars, everything. And that's when Morpheus was actually speaking to him, letting him know that, hey, I'm here. I know the thoughts and which that you've been having. And so, like that, it was like through divine intervention that the creator reached out to me and gave me the brand of transformation greatness. And there's a mission statement he gave me along with that as well. But when I heard that, I was like, okay, like, very, very, very interesting. But I still didn't take it seriously because you know how it is, guys. Like you basically probably saying to yourself, hey, you know what? That's just a figment of my imagination. I must be hallucinating, whatever the case. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and show you, and this what made it real for me. This is the reason why I am or who I am as of right now, and nobody can tell me anything different. So I went back to listen to music, reading the word, just chilling. Everything went back to normal speed, right? Everything went back to
Yes, sir.
normal. Then within a matter of few seconds, everything froze again. Now, to prove that I was hallucinating, I blinked a few times. I went just like this. It was like, and guess what? Everything was still frozen. Everything was still frozen. And again, God reached
Yes,
out
sir.
to me, the Creator reached out to me again, but it was even louder than the first time. With that being said, transformation greatness was birthed and born out of that day. And throughout that, he has given me the ability to invest in myself as far as in speaking, as far as it being a coach, a hypnotherapist practitioner, obviously radio and TV personality with SBN, the Small Business Network, mentor, author, coach, but give me the opportunity to be a part of many other excellent organizations. And it gave me that purpose again because that was at a point that I truly believe that if you ever had this in your lifetime where and all of us experienced this at one point or another, there's a crossroads in your life. And you can either
Yes,
choose
sir.
life or choose death. You can choose a righteous path or you can keep on doing on what you've been doing. At that point, I had a choice. I I could have either listened and been obedient to the calling because at that point I was broken in so many manners, financially, emotionally, spiritually, physically, every which way you can be broken, I was broken. Or I could continue to do as far as on what I've been doing, what I wanted to do, and who knows, we probably wouldn't have this conversation. So to answer your
Yes, sir.
question, who inspired me was the Holy Creator himself. Now, those that, as I started building this brand up, people such as the great Les Brown, Tony Robbins, Dr. Miles Monroe, Eric Thomas, let's see here, the late great Jim Rome, for an example. So many, Denzel Washington, right? So many great speakers. MLK, of course, Jesse Jackson, because I listened to a lot of speakers and I listened to a lot of their speeches, right? And these individuals, they gave me the encouragement. And it's like, wow, if they can do it, and if they're willing to pay the price to provide service, to give back, right? So it was so freely given to them, but at the same token, are creating a legacy and you can make money from it from an authentic standpoint, because you're leading with service, then why can't I? Why can't I? And so when I came with that, it was like, you know what? It was sent back to me by the creator. Exactly. Why can't you? You will. And you'll do it for my glory. You won't take the credit for it. It'll be because of me. And I said, you know what? Send me, I'll go, Lord. What else do I gotta lose? So I say that to say this too, because there's something that's very powerful I want you to catch. When you answer the calling, when you ask that question on what's your purpose, believe me from experience, it will be revealed to you. And it's going to be revealed in such a way that it's going to be something that's within you that you do naturally, and individuals is going to be gravitated to you, and you're going to find your purpose, and you're going to be like, you know what,
Yes, sir.
this is what I was called to do, and you're just going to build from that and build from that and build from that. So great question, my friend.
Well, I just like to say I think you've done a wonderful job heeding the call, Mr. White. You know, God has an incredible way of you know, strategically setting us on the proper course. You know, later on in another podcast or so, I'll explain what I'm talking about. My experiences in life were tragic, so I thought at the time that they were happening. You know, I was, you know, first of all, I was too young to really grasp what was happening. I just knew tragedy was now on the scene. Uh, you know, I'm not going to really go into too much detail tonight because I got to keep my focus on you for being such a wonderful guest tonight. I just thank you so much for your story. But just to give you and some of the listeners just a little bit, like, for me, things started early, Mr. White, in my childhood. You understand what I'm saying? And you know, it propelled me into a very dark place for a very long time. You know, and along the way, you know, evil showed itself in its highest degree. You know, but I managed to survive. And like I said, Mr. White, I had to really do some self-examination. I didn't want to become bitter. I didn't want to blame anyone. And I knew that I had to keep love for society. I understood that that was the way out. You understand what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, the only thing that is gonna last is love. Now, ever how you find it, you know, that's on you as an individual. I've found mine through the spiritual concept. You know, I've found mine through the God of my understanding, and I'm just a grateful person today that this spirit thing, this God thing, this invisible thing that works in me all the time has shown itself to be mighty. I'm really glad about that, sir. And as time go on and we send out more podcasts, I will give you more information as well about listeners. So it is a true statement, Mr. White, that God is a very real entity. And he's able to do anything with anyone at any time, whenever he chooses. There's no circumstances out here, Mr. White, that you can go through as a human that God can't heal. The question is, do you believe it? That's the question. With that being said, why do you have a passion for helping others?
It's the reason why that I'm still alive, my friend. It's the reason why I'm still alive. You see, it's something that, and I truly believe it goes back from when I was younger, right? I used to always, when I was young, always wanted to help, always wanted to be able to put a smile on people's faces, right? To be able to provide impact in the community. I remember when I was young, I used to volunteer for just about everything. God. I used to volunteer at the community center that we had as far as in the neighborhood. I remember when I was a worker, like for C-Town, which was a supermarket, and I was a bagger. And when I see like a person would have so many bags, I'd be like, "Hey, do you need help taking them to your apartment?" And they'd be like, "Oh, really? Like, yeah, sure, right?" And just sitting there, and even as young as I was, but still, I just had an attitude as far as to serve. Even though I was out there in the streets doing things I had no business doing, but that's another story. But even then, at that time, even being young, I had an attitude to serve, right? And to really help others. And so I guess through the course of my development of me going through my trials and tribulations and building up my testimony, if you will, always had a passion for that, right? And I used to, especially in my 20s and 30s, I would always try to find positions or jobs in which gave me that type of ability to be able to, serve the community, right? To be able to talk with individuals because even though I'm an introvert, but I also have some extrovert tendencies as well, if that makes sense. I'm kind of like in the middle, but I'm really at heart a people person. And it's just something that's within me, right? It's not something like I have to struggle with to generate a conversation. I remember my mother, she used to have a saying about me. She'd be like, you know what? You have never met a stranger in your life, huh, son? And like, no, ma, I guess not. Because I was just like, if we were out and about, right? I would talk to people on the bus. I would talk to people in the store, right? To talk to people on her job. It's like, oh man, Miss White, we love your son. Every time he comes in, he's just so friendly and he's so inquisitive. He provides a great conversation. And so yeah, I think that's just more so uh-oh, we lost Brother James again. That's just more so of just the core of who I am. And I think for most of us, if we really sit back and pay attention, we can really tell, right, by just the evidence of who we are, like inside our core, right? If we strip away everything else, or the accolades, awards, different things, and which that we do, and we just sit there with ourselves and ask the question of who am I, and what is my purpose, and what do I bring to the table, we can all sit back and really, if we sit back and listen, find out as far as on who we are and what gifts will we bring to the table. And yeah, I mean, for me, I'm just a connector. I love it. I love it. I love meeting people. I love networking. Like I said, I just have a passion to serve and help. And more importantly, and this is very key about me, is like, I just would love to see people win, right? I'm not a jealous person, not in competition with anyone whatsoever. I just love to see people win, period. Especially as being an entrepreneur. I'm telling you, because this is not easy, not by a long shot. But I guess we make it look good at times, right? Hello, bro, James. Well, it seems like our host is having some technical difficulties. So while he's working on it, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you here to another episode here from. Actually, this is going to be James Bryant and SBN, the Small Business Network podcast. This is episode 606. And if you all can just give a round of applause, Brother James, this is his very first podcast that he's doing with us. So that's very, very exciting. And I'm just so happy and honored that he's even doing this. Like, well done. So with that being said, I'm just waiting for our host to come back in. And if he doesn't come in another minute or so, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I just want to just give a special acknowledgement to those that's in the listening audience. We have here from our partner and COO, Miss Miriam Williams. Welcome, welcome. Looks like that we have here the commission in the house, Commissioner Dr. James. Welcome, welcome. We appreciate you guys so much. Looks like we have here Brother Spencer in the house as well. Spencer Bell, welcome, welcome, my friend. And so, brother, Brother James, are you there?
Mr. White, I don't know if you can hear me, sir, but I'm having a lot of difficulty on my end.
Yeah,
I'm
I
having to
see.
go in and out a lot of breaking up coming on my end.
Okay.
But I'm doing my best to, stay professional and hang in there. And to
Okay.
all the listening audience and to all those that are watching, I apologize. We will get this thing together. So you guys just be patient with us and stay tuned. It's not over. It's not over.
Excellent. Well, we've been on about for 35 minutes, my friend, so we can kind of wrap things up a little bit. So I guess if there's anything else in which that you would like to add, and I think we're losing them. Well, guys, I guess then with that being said, then we're going to go ahead and wrap this up, guys. We definitely appreciate it. Thank you once again to another episode here from James Bryant and SBN, the Small Business Network podcast. It's been an honor and an absolute privilege just to be a guest. Just want to go ahead and just make a few announcements here for those that are listening. Hey, if you were inspired and if you're like, hey man, you know what, I would love as far as to be a guest, as far as on the podcast. I believe I have a story, a message, a brand. Hey, maybe you want to talk more about as far as like your business or your mission, and you would like to be a part of it, by all means, please feel free to get in contact with myself or any one of our partners as far as and the listening audience, or even with Brother James for more information. And say, for instance, if you say, like, you know what, like the podcast is great, but I would love to know more about TV and radio opportunities because I have a message and I'm looking really to expand my reach and visibility and credibility. And that that's someone that is you, by all means, hey, we would love to have a conversation with you to go ahead and discuss TV and radio opportunities. Now, I do need to say this, obviously, TV, radio TV, it's a course, obviously, but I'm pretty sure as far as based upon what you're looking for, we can definitely meet you exactly on where you're at. And also just stay tuned for some other great and more exciting information. So with that being said, Brother James, hey, I appreciate you, man. This has been an absolute pleasure. This is going to be the first of many for yourself. We're going to wrap this up here because I know you've been having technical difficulties, but we're going to end this segment like we do all the others. If what we stated on here either motivated, transformed, or inspired at least one person, then may God be the glory, and
Yes,
we take
sir.
no credit for absolutely none of it. And until then, you're all amazing. Thank you so much for your time on this Wednesday evening. By His grace and mercy, look forward to seeing you all on the next episode, which, by the way, tomorrow, our partner COO, Miss Miriam Williams, will be interviewing one of our partners, Miss Sandra K. Bridges, tomorrow afternoon. Make sure that you stay tuned for that because that is going to be excellent. That is it. That is all. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Good night, everybody. Take care.
Good night.